Good morning, everybody. I'm Susan Howard, and I am the host of Brookline Cable show, The Safety Net, originally dedicated to educating about domestic violence in Brookline. But we've expanded the topics. We've really expanded the topics, and you'll see why today. Today, we have one of our own, a recent Brookline High School graduate who is going to talk to us about something she founded, very, very creative, to help those who are vulnerable and in need. Good morning, Sophie, founder of Breathe.
Good morning, Miss Howard.
Susan, don't be silly. Don't call me Miss Howard.
Sorry.
I'm so delighted you're here. Recent Brookline High graduate, ready to go off to Brandeis. But before then, you're spending a semester or a year in London? Where?
Yeah, I'm spending a semester abroad.
And when are you leaving for abroad? Lucky you.
Around September,
That's soon, right?
very soon.
Very soon. So, Sophie, tell me a little bit about yourself. We know you're a Brookline High graduate. We know that you started this very, very, very unusual, it's not really a show. I don't know what you'd call it, endeavor to help those who are vulnerable and who want to speak out, but maybe don't want to reveal their identity. Is that right?
Yeah, it's a website called Breathe, and Breathe is designed to help in the process of moving on from a traumatic event. The word breathe is kind of supposed to remind you, like when you're overwhelmed, to breathe through your thoughts. And it's just a website where people can write their story in their own words, and they can either publish it or kind of just throw it in my files that just get sent here. So it doesn't get seen. But yeah, it's kind of like a dump for people.
Oh, okay. And how did
Yeah.
you come up with this idea? This is very
So
creative.
thank you. I was studying reproductive rights at a summer school maybe not last year, maybe 2 years ago. Um, and I was researching all these kind of like horrific ways that women have been abused in the past, especially in the US, through surrogacy, through sterilization, through abortion rights. And all of these stories I noticed were being told secondhand. And I wanted to get like firsthand stories because I knew like so many people would want their story told in a different way. So that's kind of why I started it.
Oh my goodness. And how many times have people reached out to you? I bet many, many, many.
Um, so the website has reached a peak of I want to say over 50,000 views in just this year. Um, and that's globally. So, well, that's for each continent. So the peak for each continent is 50,000, and then across the US, it's been I want to say 100,000. Which is great.
Wow. And do they don't give their names. This is all anonymous, correct?
Yeah, it's anonymous, especially for underage people, it's really important that it's anonymous. But people who are adults and um, want to put their names, they can, but no one has put their name ever.
No one has put their name. Yeah, I can understand why. Can you give us some examples without revealing any identities or any personal information of the kinds of, I don't want to say stories, but the kinds of information your readers and participants share with you? What kinds of issues come up?
So the main issues I found are about sexual violence and assault. Um, that's and rape and domestic abuse. Those are the main things I've found. I've also found stuff about just kind of everyday loneliness and like family conflict, conflict with friends. It's kind of there's some like body image issues. There's also there's some gun violence in there, which I found is more common now. Yeah.
When you say more common now, as opposed to when was it not as common?
Um, just when I was first starting Breathe, I didn't see that much about gun violence. But this coming year, I've gotten about a few more, like way more than I thought I would get about gun
Wow.
violence.
Now, Sophie, do you respond to people who submit, or do you just pass it on? I mean, what do you do with the information? How can this information be helpful, say, to me, a criminal defense attorney, to you, a rising scholar, to your family? How can it be helpful to the police?
So, I can't personally respond because kind of how I have it set up is that I can't trace the person who submitted it. Like, and I think that's just a privacy thing for them. Um, but I do have a helpline on my website and it has like global contacts. So it has like 911 for every country and kind of suicide lines for every country. Um, so that's there for people. But what I do for the information is I try to make awareness about it and about the issues I see. And um, if they choose to publish it on Breathed with it, which is great because then other people can read it and it'll generate awareness about whatever issue is going on.
How do you generate awareness? Do you have a talk show? Do you have a blog? Do you have how do you do this?
Well, I kind of do things like this. I do talk shows. I do press like releases. I've done a few articles.
Where
Um,
are the articles, Sophie? Where are the articles? Share.
yeah, I had an article in the Washington Post. I have had one in the Boston Globe. Um, I think I've had one, oh, I can't remember. It was a different newspaper, but yeah, I like to do Instagram too. And my Instagram is like sometimes people will choose to share their posts to Instagram just to like reach a wider audience. Um, and I'll post whatever's on Instagram. And it actually is it's working pretty well.
Do you get responses to your articles, say to the Washington Post article, to the Globe article? Do any of the readers write in and say, Sophie, great idea, terrific? Yes, no?
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of support over the past few years. It's definitely like very heartwarming to see people email me supporting, which is great. I've gotten a lot of people offering to help, which is it's very sweet.
Did you take their offers?
Right now I don't need help with Breathe just because it's kind of self-run. It just needs someone to make sure that everything's still running. But I
Uh-huh.
think in the future I might, I don't know. Yeah.
And you're going to continue this when you're abroad and at Brandeis, correct?
Yes.
And when you were at Brookline High School, you must have received support from the staff at the high school.
Yeah, the my guidance counselor was very supportive. The first year, I think the school was a bit confused on what I was doing.
Okay.
Um, yeah, but I think they're fine with it now.
Why were they confused, Sophie?
I think they were just confused on what Breathe was, and they were maybe worried that students would turn to that over seeing an actual person, which I understand. So but overall, my guidance counselor, actually Richard Corbin was very, very supportive of Breathe. And yeah.
Um, what do you think is the attraction to Breathe? The fact that it's anonymous and I can write anything I want, say about being lonely or sexual violence. What do you think the attraction is to Breathe as opposed to other help sites?
Um, well, with Breathe, because I've noticed other help sites, it's great to have someone to talk to, you know, because if you go on like a um a helpline or a hotline. You can talk to someone there and it's great. But with Breathe, there's no wait, you know, you don't have to wait 3 hours. You can just write. And it's completely anonymous. You can also read other people's stories, which I found is very like empowering. If you find something that relates to you, then you feel like you're not alone, you know? So I think it's kind of connection without like a risk of being revealed, if that makes sense.
Revealed, yes, yes. So, what do you think will happen in the future? Do you think you're going to see, and this is a multiple question, more gun violence cases, more sexual violence, or less? Those are just some examples.
Um, I think gun violence will reach a peak and then hopefully we'll have some sort of restrictions on and safety protocols for people. So there's like less school shootings, less mass public shootings. Um, I think I'll see a little more before we see a lot less. And
I agree with
sexual,
you.
yeah,
I agree. Sadly, I agree with you. Go ahead.
yeah. I'm not. I think sexual assault will kind of, I sadly stay the same. I mean, unless they make the rape kits better somehow, unless they fix the backlog they have on that. Um,
Where is the backlog, Sophie? Is it just in Massachusetts or is it worldwide?
oh, it's worldwide. Yeah.
Oh, how do you keep up with the statistics on all of your issues?
Before I even created Breathe, I kind of like deep dived into all of this stuff and I have like a whole notebook of statistics that I keep.
And you keep up
It's
with them?
mind blowing to me.
Yeah, you keep up with the statistics. You have to, right?
Yeah, I have to.
And is it different country to country?
Of course, yeah. Um,
Really? Huh. I would have
yeah,
been so I would have thought it wouldn't be different. I would have thought rape is rape, that it's pretty much the same all over the world, but I guess not, huh?
yeah. Some countries have better laws in place to prevent protect like victims. But I don't know. Our country is a bit um I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Do you
Um,
think our country is keeping up with the need?
no, and I've tried to think of, like a plausible solution, but um
You think it's because people aren't interested or we're just overwhelmed? I
I
don't
think
know. I'm just asking.
think it's a little bit overwhelmed, like um just because there's a lot of different cases and I've heard that sexual assault is kind of like the one you can't prove, because
That's
there's no
right.
proof. And
That's right.
I just can't imagine trying to argue that.
It is difficult to argue it. Do you think some of these cases are age specific?
Um, like the sexual assault cases.
No, all of the cases that we're talking about. Do you think they're age? Do you think there are cases that target seniors more than, say, your age or middle agers, or do they target different ethnicities, different religions? Is there some discrepancy among all the cases?
I think so. Like in terms of all the topics, like there are certainly um people that are more susceptible to sexual violence. Like I think the peak age right now is maybe 13 to 20 something.
Oh,
Um and I think loneliness, I think like the broader the topic gets, the more everyone's kind of susceptible to it. But
good point. Good point.
yeah, I think it depends on the topic.
Sophie, how have other students, if they are aware of like you doing this, Are other students, how have they taken what you're doing? Are they supportive? Do they reach out to you? Do they ask for help? Do they ask for resources?
Well, some of the people that found out I was doing this at Brookline High School wanted to help, and they were super supportive. Um, yeah, I think the students were way more chill about it than the staff. They either wanted to help or they, saw it as a good thing.
I'm sure that, and is it going to continue at Brookline High School, or is your website worldwide? So it doesn't matter where you are or where they are in your life?
Oh yeah, my website's completely independent. Like it doesn't rely on Brookline High School.
Okay. Are there other high schools involved that you know of?
Um, I didn't put them like for flyers and publicity. I didn't put anything up for other high schools. I did put some up for universities
Which
around campus.
local universities? Local universities?
Yeah, local universities. I did BC's like right across the street from my house. So
Uh-huh.
um that was pretty close. And then I did Harvard Square, Northeastern, BU.
Wow.
I just put those up just during final season because I know it can get stressful and sometimes people get
Right.
overwhelmed.
And have you put any up in London and other towns or cities in England?
Oh, not in England yet. I definitely will. Um, but I did put a lot up in New York City. Yeah, anytime I go, I bring a bunch of flyers and tape with me so I can just put them up on benches and
Wow.
yeah.
Very exciting. We only have a minute or two left. And first of all, I'd like you to give your website so Dom, our producer, can put it on the show. But what would you like our readers to know about Breathe? What's the most important thing that you would like them to know?
I would like you to know that it is 100% a safe space and you don't have to worry about anything when it comes to someone else reading it. And it's really, it does feel like a breath of fresh air when you can just let something off your chest. So if you have like something weighing on you, I'd really recommend it. And the
Wow.
website is breathesafespace.com.
BreatheSafeSpace.com, and it's for all ages, male, female, whatever, correct?
Doesn't matter.
Gender neutral, right?
Yeah,
Am I
of course, it
right?
doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Sophie, thank you so much for coming on. I think what you're doing is just terrific. I wish you all the best in England and at Brandeis, and I hope you'll come back and keep us posted as to the worldwide effort that you're about to embark on. Sophie, thank you for Breathe. We need it.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Okay, bye, Sophie.
Bye.